Alright, so in today's video, we're going to be watching an 11-year-old trans girl go before her school board and tell a really, really powerful story. This is in Salt Lake County, Utah. Um, Here it is.
And so if you'd like to, you can introduce yourself. Do you want to?
The audio is so-so.
Hi, I'm Allison, and I wrote this in my free time. Hello, fathers, daughters, mothers, and everybody else who came here today with fear, anger, and confusion. Free feelings that hurt inside badly. I came here not to fight, but to make peace. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to tell a story. An autobiography, if you may. Well, as far back as I can remember, I always chose dresses, makeup, wigs, and dolls. My first Halloween costume that I chose to do was a zombie vampire bride. So weird, right? Who thinks of that? Well, I did. I remember the first dress I wore was a pretty white gown. When I wore it, it felt special. Not like anything else. It was the best feeling. It felt like magic. When my loving mom first curled my hair and I looked in the mirror, I wanted to cry because I saw not the person I was supposed to be, but the person I am. Because when I imagine myself as a grown human, I see a woman dancing in a white dress through a meadow of flowers. And when I see that, I know that's who I am. And I just want the space and acceptance to be me. Thank you.
Okay, so we've heard
Thank you.
people we've heard people talk about abuses and what that is. I mean, she's experienced that pretty much every day where she comes home and she has to ask me, Dad, how come it has to be this way? Is this not right? Is this, every day she has to defend herself. She has to stick up for herself. They talk about courage. This is what courage looks like.
Her father there was absolutely right about that. That is what courage looks like, excuse me. And it's really powerful and in my opinion, just it's really impactful when you hear a story like that, where it's a human being, a very young, very, very young human being, just talking about how they want to live their lives. That's what they're talking about. They want to live a normal life, how they want to live it, and they can't do that every day. Every day, just trying to live their life and be who they want to be is a struggle. And that is a huge problem for the trans community. And I don't mean that on just like a social level. I mean that in many, many places in the country, there has been very, very harsh pieces of anti-trans legislation that has been passed. Some of that I've covered on the channel. I've covered anti-trans groups and rhetoric and people that espouse anti-trans rhetoric all the time. But that student right there, her name was Allison Siravanshai. I am so sorry if I pronounced that name wrong. The Salt Lake Tribune wrote an article about it. We're going to look at that in just a minute. But I first heard about this from Erin Reed on Twitter. She is an independent LGBTQ plus journalist, and she has her own website where she wrote an article about this. And we're going to go over this article first, and then we're going to look at the Salt Lake Tribune article because I think they're both great articles. Again, credit to Erin. She is the one that wrote the story. This is where I found the story. I found it on Twitter, but then she linked it. She titled it, Young Trans Girl Delivers Stunning Speech to School Board in Utah, and she links the video down here. Across the United States, laws and policies aimed at transgender individuals, particularly transgender students, have taken center stage. This is markedly evident in school boards where groups such as Moms for Liberty, are orchestrating efforts to enact rules that marginalize LGBTQ plus students with a specific eye toward transgender students. This is something, again, I've covered Moms for Liberty a couple of times here on the channel. One of the videos I made on them was a CNN interview that Elle Reeve did, I think it was, with a member of Moms for Liberty, and she pretty much just sat there and let her say as much trans shit as you can possibly say on a TV program like that, and didn't really push back on it at all. So, in these school board meetings, derogatory remarks are often hurled at trans individuals, portraying transgender students as violent threats, yet occasionally a transgender student courageously steps forward to share their own story. This was precisely the scenario in Jordan School District where a young transgender student named Allison delivered a captivating speech imploring for her own acceptance and humanity, and that was the video that we watched. Before Allison spoke, her father approached the microphone, arm circling his daughter, and stated, "I am here to address the board as the father of Allison," adding that if you've known her whole life, you know who she's always been. He then inquired if she would like to speak. That's when she leaned into the microphone and delivered her remarks, evoking tears and applause. And then she goes over the speech there. And then she also, in that article, links to the Salt Lake Tribune, who actually is, this is a big publication, at least in this area. And they actually picked up the story where they say Fox Hollow Elementary School student Allison, I'm not going to try to pronounce that last name again. I'm sorry if I got it wrong the first time. I do apologize. Approached the microphone at Tuesday night's Jordan School District Board meeting with her father, Jesse, at her side. The 11-year-old wore a blue dress with the pink and white flowers as she stood before the room of adults, including other students, parents, and Utah State Board of Education board member Natalie Klein. The adults had come to the meeting to demand that the district prevent transgender students such as Allison from using school restrooms that align with their gender identity. I just want the space and acceptance to be me. As far back as I can remember, I always chose dresses, makeup, wigs, and dolls. And my thing about this, again, is I feel like, I don't understand how having a bathroom that is unisex, like it's like a bathroom that, you know what the symbol, it's like the circle person and then like the triangle person. I don't even know how to describe it. Like that has never been a problem for like these conservatives and these anti-trans people, but now for some reason the transgender community is a problem when it comes to an issue like this. I don't understand. This is something that I don't understand how at one point this was okay, but now all of a sudden it's not okay. It doesn't make sense to me. They go on in the article. This was a little more detailed than Aaron's article, but they go on in the article to talk about some of the anti-trans legislation that is being passed in this area. But something else that I forgot to go over here in Aaron's article is something that is very serious, and that is a organization known as GenSpect, or I don't even know how to pronounce it, but I had never heard about GenSpect before I heard about this story. And GenSpect is a alliance of professional parent groups, trans people, detransitioners, and others promoting a healthy approach to sex and gender. This was started from some psychiatrist, I think, some ex-lady doctor who believes that conversion therapy works the best, and she advocates for laws banning conversion therapy to be, we can't ban that. Conversion therapy works. Trans people are bad. They have a story that they wrote here about Allison. I'm not laughing about it because I think it's funny. I'm laughing about it because I think that the story is absolutely fucking ridiculous. 11-year-old Allison, I don't know why they're putting her name in quotes like that's not her name. That's the reason I'm laughing about it to begin with, because they put her fucking name in quotes. I don't know why they did that. That's the type of shit that, like, I'm not even gonna click on it. I'm not gonna click on it and read it because I already know what it's gonna be. I already know it's gonna be a bunch of anti-trans bullshit. I already know what it's gonna be. Came out as trans at 8 after having a vision of wearing a long white dress in a field. This is, y'all heard the story. Y'all heard what she just said, and even then, that clip was really short. She had limited time because, when you go to a school board thing, you have a limited time to speak. You guys heard what Allison said. You heard it. That is not all she fucking said. She used that example because she was telling a story. That's not what happened. Again, if you read this article, I don't even know if they linked the video in the article, but I guarantee you, if you only read this article, then you wouldn't even get exactly what she said, because they're already doing that with the headline. Dad says putting this bullshit in quotes. I don't know why they're doing that. You can't put it in quotes and act like that's not the reality that we live in. It's really hilarious to me that it's the anti-trans community that it's the people that say fucking it's the conservatives that sit there and say you know, transgender people that are trans, people that are a part of the transgender community are living in a delusion, but then it's you guys that are literally choosing not to live in reality. I probably didn't word that very well. Must be validated in who she is, more quotes, and allowed to use girl spaces because of many trans-identified people consider suicide. I don't know how that is what they gathered from this, but luckily, at least here on Twitter, there were people that came to shit on whoever posted this and this Jen Specht account, which is great. People said, "Don't bully children. Don't bully children. Excuse me. You should not be using quotes to belittle their chosen name and gender identity." This is exactly. I don't even. This is exactly what I thought when I started reading this. This is exactly what I thought. I don't know why they're doing that. I do know why they're doing that, but I just think it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. But that is going to be it for this video. Guys, please let me know what you thought of Allison and her story down below in the comments.